They really thought Funny Mike was pussy. What you say? They really thought Funny Mike was pussy. YouTube, check it out, man. We got the story of Funny Mike. I mean, I've been watching Funny Mike since I was in high school. That was years ago. But I know a little bit about Funny Mike. I just want to see if folks really gonna tell the story of how he really blew up, bro. Shout out Mike. Mike is a good inspiration to look at. He said don't look up to him because what he did, but from what he came from to where he is now, bro, you gotta look up to that man because he made it, bro. He turned
From
his life
catching a
around.
body and facing a murder charge to becoming a family-friendly YouTuber stacking millions, Funny Mike's story is one of the wildest flips the internet's ever seen.
Bro,
Before the pranks, the challenges,
yeah.
and the family skits, he
This
was
man
MacArthur
was on the
Johnson, a
block
kid
with
from Baton Rouge,
YB.
Louisiana, a city where you better keep that thing on you or you might end up a pack. But how does
Yeah.
someone
You know
go
that.
from facing life in prison to building one of the biggest kids-friendly YouTube channels? And is the past really behind him, or is it still waiting to catch up? MacArthur Johnson, born October 8th, 1996, grew up in the trenches of Baton Rouge. In his own words,
He
growing
grew
up
up
in
in
Baton
trenches
Rouge
leaving
meant that
Mike
Growing up in
alone,
Baton
see?
Rouge, man, you don't do something
He a
that's
comedian,
not
bro.
in the street wise, you're gonna end up in
He left the
jail
streets
or
behind.
dead. So
the hood shaped him, pushing him toward the trap life as a young hustler, just trying to make it out. Johnson had his fair share of run-ins with the law as a young bull. He caught some cases and spent time in juvie for throwing hands and other charges he's been reluctant to speak on. In his Vlad TV interview, he mentioned that he would always burn it out, meaning he beat those cases quick and never had to do a long bid.
Like, how much time do you think you spent in juvenile altogether?
Oh, juvenile, I ain't spent that long in juvenile. I had bonded out.
Like many young men looking for a way out
I
of their
know all that.
circumstances, Johnson turned to music. Baton Rouge has a rich hip-hop history, with artists like Boosie being major influences on the youth there. In fact, Johnson has stated that Boosie was his biggest
Boosie
influence growing up, saying he was listening to Boosie before Kevin Gates. Before finding success, Johnson went through a series of different personas and names, trying to find what would stick. He went by Lit Mac on the track, Lit Guno, Mighty Mike, and Girl He Funny at different points.
So, what was
You
the
know what's
first one?
crazy?
My first
Reggie
name was Lil Mac.
got that name, girl. He funny now.
On
Lil
the
Mac.
track. On the track. Lil Mac on the track.
Lil Mac
Yeah,
on the
Lil
track.
Mac.
Yeah,
Come
so
on,
that was
you
my
were
first.
whatever you want to call it, nigga at this point. I
I
only
slapped
know
them hoes
22
down,
Savage.
for real.
Funny Mike.
yeah,
Those periods before my
but
time.
yeah, but that was one of my rap names.
Initially, he tried to make it as a rapper, but when that wasn't taking off, he pivoted to comedy on social media platforms like Vine and Instagram. His relatable comedy about family dynamics and childhood experiences started getting traction. Johnson explained that he started that after rapping wasn't taking off, seeing comedy as another potential path to success.
After rapping wasn't taking off for me, you know what I'm saying? I started then to try to see
crazy.
what can I, get out
Might
of it,
be
you know what I'm
keeping
saying?
all
But
his
then
people with him too.
shit
That's
just started going up, you know what I'm saying?
So you get in the Instagram comedian
Can't-
thing,
can't
right?
even think
And
of
one
his name, but
situation
he
took
rap
off,
too.
you know, on the Instagram.
This hustle and willingness to adapt would eventually pay off, but not before a major controversy and legal trouble that nearly derailed everything. In 2016, when Atlanta rapper 21 Savage was gaining popularity, Johnson made a strategic move that would change his
22
trajectory. During a
Savage.
freestyle, he dropped the line, "This ain't 21, this 22," and people caught on. Seeing the reaction, he decided to adopt the persona of 22 Savage, a clear parody of 21 Savage.
Yeah, it was just a freestyle with the woo.
Now, how did the freestyle go?
You know, I was like, this ain't 21, bitch, this 22. Whip, skirt, woo. You know, and then everybody just fucked with it.
Johnson released a song called Jumpin' as 22 Savage, which quickly gained traction. The audio alone was racking up thousands of plays within hours. And when he dropped the video, it exploded, reaching millions of views.
When you put out Jumpin', you put out his audio first.
Yeah, it did numbers like overnight. Like it was doing numbers like first hour it did 5,000. Like through the week, shit, it was like 50,000. So I'm knowing it's doing something. So that's why I was like, yeah, we got to do a visual to it. Visual out, and it just popped off.
The 22nd Savage character wasn't just a name. Johnson adopted a similar look and flow to 21 Savage, stretching his words in a similar cadence. When asked if this was intentional, Johnson kept it a buck and admitted, yeah, that was done on purpose, just trying to fuck with him. He was straight trolling.
Did you think that anything was really gonna pop off, or this was just another like?
Nah, I ain't, well, really, I didn't really think it was gonna be big as what it is, but I knew it was just gonna do plays and shit, but I didn't really think it was gonna be big. It was what it was.
But then you kind of look like 21 Savage a little bit.
Man, that's what they say.
Don't look like 21 Savage.
The music
Never
industry
looked
and
like
internet
21.
took
Come on,
notice.
Vlad.
Blog posts started appearing about this 22 Savage character, and the controversy only fueled Johnson's growing fame. Many compared him to other artists who had found success through controversial imitation, like Young Thug with his Barter 6, playing off Lil Wayne's Carter series. What started as a parody soon escalated into a real beef. 21 Savage responded during a performance saying,
Ain't no 22, ain't no 23.
acknowledging the copycat without directly addressing him.
So you got on stage and said, "Ain't no 22, ain't no 23."
Oh yeah, I seen that. I saw that.
What'd you think?
Ain't no 21. It's 22. You know.
Johnson took this as a challenge. In interviews, he claimed that if 21 Savage had just ignored me, eventually it would have just faded away. Instead, the back and forth intensified.
Because all you really had to do was just ignore you.
Right.
Eventually,
Just
it would have just
ignore
kind of
me
faded
and
away.
Everything would have faded away. But
Right.
you know, he got no sense of,
The situation escalated when Johnson challenged 21 Savage to a boxing match, saying if 21 won, he would change his name. Even 50 Cent got involved, contacting Johnson
remember all
about putting
this.
the
This
fight
was
on the
years-
undercard
this-
of a Mayweather boxing event.
10
According to
years
Johnson,
ago.
they were going to put up 100 bands each for the fight, but 21 Savage declined, saying, "I don't box, I got them choppers."
Talk about all this boxing, man. We walk around with choppers and shit, man. We ain't boxing no motherfucker.
But Funny Mike, aka 22 Savage, responded and said he must have thought they stopped making choppas when they made his, hinting that he with the shits and is ready to shoot as well.
21 Savage
Yo, where-
said
hold on.
that he don't box, he got them choppers.
Yeah.
How'd you feel when you heard that?
When he said that,
Yeah.
I said, oh
We
man, he
skipping
must
it.
thought
We
they
skipping
stopped
some
making
stuff.
choppers when they made his shit. You know what I'm saying? You hear me? They don't stop making choppers, dick. Anybody can get a chopper,
No, we
dick.
not. No, we
you
not.
know
No,
what
we
I'm
not.
saying?
No, we
The
not.
beef took an even darker turn when 21 Squad began posting threatening messages, including tombstone emojis over Johnson's pictures. This led to threats and
I
declarations
ain't know
that
all
ATL,
this.
21 Savage's city, and BR, Johnson City, were now no-fly zones for each other, meaning if either one pulled up to the other's hood, it was on site. The internet beef was turning into some real street shit.
You know, that would really escalated the shit again, you hear me? Cause that's when one of his homeboys, I don't know who he was, he put the little tombstones over my pictures, whoop the whoop, then no plug. He got the comment, he say something, so I added him. I say pull up. You know, that's when the whole city, you know, what up, pull up, you know what I'm saying?
You said that, Baton Rouge is a no-fly zone for them now?
Shit, it is no fly zone.
But while the internet beef was heating up, the streets had a different kind of smoke waiting. Before long, Funny Mike wasn't just playing Savage on records. He caught a real body in
That nigga was
broad
playing
daylight.
Savage
Amid the
in the
rise of the
streets.
22 Savage persona and the beef with 21 Savage, something far more serious occurred. On May 3rd, 2016, MacArthur Johnson was involved in a shooting that left 20-year-old Richard Phillips dead in the parking lot of a Baker Boulevard grocery store in Louisiana.
Good afternoon, I'm Cheryl Mercedes.
And I'm Greg Merriweather. A fight over a flyer for a birthday
claim it was
party
self-defense.
has left one man
I
dead
ain't-
and another charged with his murder.
The killing happened at a Baker convenience store, and this afternoon, Police Chief Mike Knaps announced a total of 3 arrests in this case. But the suspected shooter insists he did nothing wrong.
You didn't fire a gun?
Self-defense.
So you did fire a gun.
Self-defense.
19-year-old MacArthur Johnson, police
Well,
say,
he's
turned
smart. He's
himself
smart. Just
in
kept
on
saying
Wednesday
self-defense,
morning after
self-defense.
hearing he was wanted
I
in a
wouldn't say
shooting
anything.
overnight at the Baker Boulevard grocery store.
According to police reports, the shooting stemmed from a dispute over a birthday party flyer that had occurred 7 weeks earlier. On the night of the shooting, Johnson was in a car with Charmaine Wilson when they encountered Phillips, who was distributing flyers in the parking lot. Phillips was passing out party flyers in the parking lot, and he and Funny Mike were arguing over the flyers. After a brief conversation, Phillips and his companion, Walter Williams Jr., slid off at first, but Phillips doubled back and pressed Funny Mike a second time. Mike said Phillips upped a strap on him, so Mike fired first, hitting him dead in the chest, claiming it was self-defense.
Self-defense.
So you did fire a gun.
Self-defense.
19-year-old MacArthur Johnson, police say, turned himself in on Wednesday morning after hearing he was wanted in a shooting overnight at the Baker Boulevard grocery store. Richard Phillips, known as Rah-Rah, also 19, died after being shot in the chest.
But here's the thing. Nobody ever confirmed if Phillips even had a pole on him, and whether it was real self-defense or not is still really shaky. Phillips ended up dying from the shot. Later that day, Funny Mike got booked along with 2 other dudes that were riding with him. They charged him with second-degree murder, illegal use of a weapon, and obstruction of justice. Mike admitted he squeezed the trigger, but tried to play the self-defense card. Problem is, the cops had video footage, and it didn't match his story. A report said they tried to lie and claim Phillips was strapped, but one of the passengers folded when the feds showed him the surveillance footage, and the footage showed Phillips didn't have no gun. Funny Mike's bond got set at $370,000, but he had the bread and bonded out quick, at least for the moment. In interviews after the shooting, Johnson seemed ice cold about the serious charges hanging over his head. When asked how he felt with a murder case pending, he responded, "I don't feel no type of way. I don't think about it, just fuck it." This showed how desensitized he was to the streets. Man was facing decades, but acting like it wasn't nothing but a thing.
What? How I feel?
Yeah, with something like that hanging over your head.
I don't feel no type of way because, you know, if you was in my shoes, and the situation, you would probably do the same thing, you know, so.
Not about the situation, but about the court case that's coming up or the plea deal that's coming up or whatever is coming up in your future, because one way or another, something's gonna have to happen. So how do you just get by day after day?
I don't know, I don't think about it.
Just fuck it.
But sometimes in the streets, it ain't about who's right or wrong, it's about what you can prove. And somehow, against all odds, Funny Mike finessed the system and slid out the back door clean. Now you're hearing all these and wondering why he's not in prison right now, despite all the evidence looking mad sketch. Johnson caught the biggest break of his life. In what shocked everybody, a grand jury decided not to indict him on the murder charges. This decision effectively meant the case wouldn't go to court, and Johnson was free to move forward with his life. He celebrated this outcome on Instagram, writing, "God is good, second chance at life, shout out to my team." Some have speculated about how Johnson managed to avoid indictment despite the evidence, including surveillance footage. But the details of the grand jury proceedings remain private. With the streets watching and the feds off his neck, Funny Mike knew he couldn't keep living on borrowed time. He had to reinvent himself before the next bullet or courtroom took him out for good. Following his legal troubles and the 22 Savage controversy, Johnson knew he needed to switch up his whole vibe. He eventually shelved the 22 Savage persona and fully embraced his new identity, Funny Mike. This wasn't actually a new wave, but rather a return to his comedic roots. Before the 22nd Savage character, he had already been building a following with comedy content. As 21 Savage explained in interviews, the comedy shit was working, so I guess he just went back to it.
Did you convince him to drop the whole 22 Savage thing?
I think he did that on his own, really.
Just ran his course?
I ain't never asked him to stop. But he DM'd me like back then and apologized though. Like way back then. Not on no pussy shit, like some man shit. Yeah. He said some shit. He just stopped doing it. But he was a comedian before the 22 shit and it was working for him. The comedy shit was working. So I guess he just went back to it.
In 2016, he created his YouTube channel and began focusing on comedy skits, pranks, and lifestyle content. His authentic personality and humor resonated with audiences, and his channel grew rapidly. Johnson's content evolved over time, becoming more family-friendly as he himself matured and started a family. He began dating Jalea Monet, whom he met through social media, and the couple now have 2 children, a daughter named London, born in February 2019, and a son named MacArthur Johnson Jr., born in July 2020. Today, Funny Mike has built a straight-up media empire. His main YouTube channel is pushing over 6 million subscribers, and he runs additional channels including Funny Mike Gaming, Funny Mike Skits, and the MJ Family channel with his girl Jalea, which has over 3 million subscribers by itself. His content now is all about pranks, challenges, and family vlogs, a complete 180 from his days as 22 Savage or his trouble with the law. He's estimated to be worth about 3 M's, all made legitimately through his social media hustle. That's according to Google, but I think he's worth 10 times that, as he's acquired most of his wealth from crypto investments. A coin called Doge is what made him all these millions. Beyond YouTube, Johnson has kept dropping music under his Funny Mike persona, with tracks like...
He also got a few rentals, bro. You don't see how he be moving almost every 3 months. He don't just sell those houses. He buy them houses and rent them out
DD3X,
He
Small
said it in,
Wee
like,
Wee,
his old
and Monsters
videos.
Under My Bed, showing a more lighthearted approach than his 22 Savage days.
got it
Johnson
smart
has
way.
also been giving
Wanna
back to
be
the
like
hood,
when I grow
organizing
up.
bike
But no,
giveaways for kids
without
in Baton
the all the
Rouge, who
gang
ain't got
banging and stuff
much,
like that.
especially around Christmas time.
But-
He's spoken on the importance of putting on for your city, noting that many children
Mike,
don't
bro.
get nothing for Christmas because their family can't afford it. A key part of Johnson's story is his connection to another Baton Rouge rapper who blew up, NBA YoungBoy, Kentrell Deshaun Galden. These
They
two
really
came
thought
up in the
Funny Mike
same
was
trenches of
pussy.
Baton Rouge, both trying to make it out by any means.
really thought
YoungBoy
Funny
has
Mike was
shouted out
pussy.
Funny Mike in his
ahead,
music,
play
with
that,
bars suggesting people mistakenly thought Funny Mike was soft when he was really about that life.
All you do is whistle. Players prison after central booking. They really thought Funny Mike was pussy. They really thought Funny Mike was pussy. Young boy.
This cosign from one of the hottest rappers in the game adds another layer to Johnson's complex
heck does
story and
dancing
street
shit got to
credibility.
do with-
Funny Mike's journey from the trenches of Baton Rouge to YouTube stardom is a story of transformation, second chances, and reinvention, straight up. While his past includes
was also
catching
in
a
a video
body
about
and
beef.
controversial beef, he finessed his way to building a successful career as an entertainer. Today, the man once charged with murder creates content that millions of families watch daily. He's a father, entrepreneur, and content creator who's apparently left his troubled past behind. He really beat the system and changed his life around.
yeah.
His story raises mad questions about redemption, the justice system, and how people can switch up their whole lives. It also highlights the unique opportunities that platforms like YouTube provide for renovation and reaching audiences directly without traditional gatekeepers. Love him or hate him, Funny Mike's story shows that no matter how deep in the game you might be, there's always a chance to flip the script and make something positive happen. From posting up on the corner to superstar content creator, that's the American dream in the digital age. Let us know down below, what do y'all think of Funny Mike's interesting story?
Funny Mike hard. Love that boy like he my blood brother, but he really came up from this shit. Not only he came up from it, bro, he put all the kids and all his peoples around him on. They don't have an excuse to say, yo, Funny Mike didn't put me on. He had you in videos. He promoted your channel. He promoted you on his gram. Funny Mike, Funny Mike just get me smiling, bro, because knowing that he came from the trenches and made it, that shit hard, bro. But appreciate y'all for tuning in, bro. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.